Hey YouTube, I bought the 3F UL Gear Lanshan 2 tent and showed it in one of my Appalachian Trail videos. Somebody wants to see more details on it. First, let's look at the weight. 2 pounds, 7.7 ounces for the tent. The stakes make it 2 pounds, 11.2 ounces. And the ground cloth that I bought makes it 3 pounds, 1 ounce. The tent doesn't come with any directions, so we're still trying to figure out how to set it up, although we managed to get it set up in the woods. It's about 15 inches long by 6 inches wide. This tent does not come with any poles. You use your trekking poles to set it up. Okay, we want to start with the ground cloth. We put the tent on top. If the ground is soft, I put my trekking poles in first, and my trekking poles are set at 125. That's what I hike with them at, and it happens to be the ideal height for this tent. And what I do is I put the trekking pole through that little loop there, push it into the ground, come up to the part of the tent right here, and I tuck the trekking pole into there. And then I leave that like that. I come over to the other side, pull this out so it's kind of tight. Put the trekking pole in. Hook that over the top. Like that. And kind of gently stake that one out. And do the other side. One side of these stakes has a little notch, and one side doesn't. Then the next thing I do is at the bottom of the tent there's an elastic cord which I feed through the ground cloth, and then I'm going to stake that in. At the same time I stake the fly in. I'm just going to temporarily put that in. And I do the same thing over here. The corner of this tent into the fly, and then the rest of the tent into here. Okay, so now it's a little floppy, and I'll go with what I would like to ideally do is I would like to just pull on this strap and have it tighten up, but it doesn't stay and let go, it just releases. So I don't know what's wrong with that, and I probably should try to figure that out. What I do instead is pick up the stake, move it out. Move it out. That side doesn't look too bad. I'm going to take this, stake that out. I think it gives you a little extra headroom inside. And I don't know how these blue ropes are supposed to go, so what I do is I just hook them under here and then hook the other end of it under here, and then just stake this out. So there's the tent all set up. And I'm going to climb inside and show you the inside. By the way, I think this has excellent ventilation. We camped out in pretty damp conditions, and I think we had a lot of wind coming through here, a lot of moisture venting out the vents are at the top. We had no condensation whatsoever, which is pretty amazing considering the conditions we've had. So you can do that, roll this up. We cooked under the vestibule. There isn't a lot of room in this tent, but there's sufficient room for 2 people. This also can be tied up. So for demonstration purposes, I'm going to use this ridge rest. The pad is 73.5 inches long, it appears. The whole tent is about 80 inches long One pad is about 20 inches wide. The whole tent is about 43 inches wide. You could easily fit two 20-inch pads side by side, no problem. And you could sleep two people side by side, no problem, but there isn't room for your gear unless you're putting it underneath your feet. There is some little hooks here, which I assume you could make a little clothesline with. So I'm sitting up in it right now, and I am touching here, but if I were sitting in the middle, I wouldn't be touching at all, which is nice. And the walls are vertical. And the height of the walls, about 42 inches. I like this tent a lot. It is small for two people. It would be ideal for one person. And when I'm laying down, my head is not touching the netting at all. There is a pocket to store things like your phone, which I highly recommend so you don't crush it. There are two doors here for this person and a vestibule for that person, and then one over here to the second person. And the zippers work pretty well. One thing I don't like about these stakes is they're four-sided, so that you get dirt on all four sides. And I have some MSR stakes that are just a V, so you only have dirt on one side. Also, this stake is already bent. I might have to get some MSR stakes for this instead of these stakes. Okay, Beth just figured out what's wrong. This is looped over the far end here. So when you do that, it just releases. It should be looped over the far end and then put down between here so that when you pull, it stays pulled. I bought the tent and the ground cloth off AliExpress, although I think you can also buy it off Amazon.com, and I'll put a link in the description. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Subscribe.